It's Saturday morning, and that means on KLOE, Goodland, Kansas, it's time for our Gardening with the Garden Guru, Christie Rasure, presented by Shore's Bumper to Bumper Downtown Goodland, and those great quality Fertilome yard and garden products. And it's time to visit with Christie. Good morning, Christie Rasure.
Good morning, Curtis.
Wow, how's it going this morning?
It is going well.
Well, I'm glad that's working out. You know, a lot of folks have been up overnight for the American Cancer Society Relay for Life at the Goodland High School track. They started last night at 7 o'clock with a start and a tribute and everything. So we want to say thanks to everybody that's contributed to the American Cancer Society Relay for Life in Goodland and Sherman County and other places too.
Yeah, I was going to say, and I'm hoping that they're maybe still awake. I hope we don't put them to sleep. But I applaud all the ones that have been out there all night doing the Relay for Life. I did not do it this year with everything else going on, but I do applaud them. I have done it before. I enjoyed it immensely, and it was a good turnout for what I could see this year, because I was there earlier.
Oh, certainly, and a lot of people take part in that in different age groups, and it's nice to know that we've got a good backing, something that affects men and women alike.
Yes, and cancer does not stop at any age, from birth to old age. It gets them all, and that's what's sad. And so it affects all of our lives. Indeed,
it does. Another thing, of course, we've got the farmers market there at Memory Park, just on Center Street, just north of the USDA service office. That's going on. But right now, we want to talk about things at Shore's Bumper to Bumper downtown Goodland. My goodness, they've been open since 5 this morning. Isn't that convenient that they're open that early with all their products, car parts, truck parts, yard and garden?
It is. I was going to say, and that way you can get your stuff and get it going and know that you can get all your stuff done and be off for the day.
Yeah. Well, now, we took last week off, but we're here this week, and Designs Unlimited, you're busy there too. But right now, Shore's Bumper to Bumper and those quality Fertilome yard and garden products. Christy, let's get right to it. Time to water some more, you think?
Oh, I was going to say, we were fortunate enough with the last weekend to have some rain, which was so needed. And I know there's some other rains this week, in our areas. But unfortunately, because we don't have the crystal ball to tell us what's going to happen with this fall and winter, we need to be thinking about watering, and we need to be thinking seriously about watering our trees. And those trees are so thirsty, and you can really see them. And, just because, or as all of you know, with the fires and everything that were in Colorado, you can see what it's like for those trees. I mean, there's a lot of sap in them, and it was so dry, and unfortunately, it was catching a lot of that dry material on those trees, and catching that on fire. We don't want that, and plus, those trees are just thirsty. And so what we are really telling people is go out there and start watering those trees. And so, I know people say, well, I don't want to leave my hose on 24 hours. And I keep telling them, put a soaker hose on them, and it doesn't cost that much to do that. And protect your trees. You have a mere fortune in that tree. And people don't realize how long it takes to grow a tree. And that is our greatest asset. It does so much for us, and we need to protect them.
Well, there's so many old trees in Goodland. In fact, not only Goodland, but every city we cover, that we need to take care of them. Some are 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years old, and you just don't get those overnight.
That's right. It takes that many years to grow a gorgeous tree. And so what we want to do is protect that investment. A lawn, we can replace. Our flowers, our garden, we can replace. But a tree, and on a grass or for flowers and all that, we can replace them in a year or two. That's no big deal. But as far as the tree goes, it takes many, many, many years. And so that's something we want to take care of, that investment, and make sure we've got them watered and have them protected.
I see the stress on some of the small bushes and shrubs and flowers and things. I can't imagine the stress that a big old tree takes on.
Well, and the thing is, if you have a blue spruce, if you have a dwarf Alberta spruce, and especially our spruces are what we're really seeing it in, the spider mites and the aphids are really hitting those hard. Aphids and spider mites love heat. They love dust. They like dry. What other conditions have we had? Let's see. They like all of those. So guess what? And they love spruce because guess what? They can go in there and suck all the energy out of that tree and kill it. And I've been watching this one tree. Unfortunately, nobody was living at that house. And somebody said that the owner is from out of state. And I've watched in the last 10 days, that tree has just been destroyed by the spider mites and the aphids. And it's been sad. But that is what they will do. And unfortunately, I'm not going to, because I don't know the owners, I don't know who owns this property, I won't go in and just spray somebody's tree. I just can't do that.
Sure.
But needless to say, it's one of those things that it's just sad to see a beautiful tree being destroyed by these little tiny things that you can't even see.
I was wondering what size these little critters are.
You really can't see them. They're very, very, very tiny.
Oh.
If you take a white piece of paper, that's the way a lot of times we will check to see if you do have aphids or spider mites. We will take spider mites, you can tell it because of the webs. But aphids, about the best way is take a white piece of paper and shake the limb a little bit, and you'll see these tiny, tiny black little specks. And that is usually aphids, and that's the way we tell.
Is that kind of like a little fungus type thing?
No, fungus is different.
Oh.
It really is different. And yes, fungus has been affecting some areas too, especially our lawns. But this is what is going on, and it is because of the environment.
Wow. Now, I know Shore's bumper to bumper. Downtown, they have the Fertilome products. They've got the spray or whatever you need, but they certainly have the soaker hoses, and they're not that expensive, but, boy, I tell you, it's expensive to lose a big old tree.
That's right. It is very expensive. And when we say to use the soaker hose, don't put it right next to the tree necessarily, because yes, there are roots there, but really the way you need to do is just keep taking it out further and further, because those roots go as far as the drip line. The drip line is as far as that limb reaches out. The tip of that limb is where a lot of those roots are. And so you want to water all the way out, and that way you're protecting that tree.
Is it kind of like having a tree upside down in the earth? You're kind of imagining things a little bit?
I guess that'd be a good way to put it, yeah.
Yeah, because I know if it's 50 foot wide on top of the ground, from one side of the tree to the other, then it's going to be that deep or that wide underground.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that's your drip line. Okay,
right.
I understand. Okay.
And like your spruces, your junipers, a lot of your evergreen trees, those roots don't go real deep. They are sitting pretty close to the surface.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is something that you want to remember too.
Wow. So get those watered. When's the best time of the day to water these big old trees?
Well, I like to do it 24 hours a day, but that's what I'm doing. But with as many trees as I have too, I kind of have to do that. A lot of people say they don't like to, it's not a good thing to water at night because of fungus and that can set on. But because of our winds out here, it is a good time to do it in the evening and nighttime, because number one, it's better water pressure. Also, because you're not affecting people's household watering too, and pressures and that kind of is what we usually say. And so it's just a quiet watering time, and the tree is cooler, and the tree is able to take that water up better.
Oh, good idea. Good idea.
So one of the products that I really would recommend is a horticulture spray that Fertilome has, and that works for spider mites, aphids. It also works for the mites and also for the funguses that hit our trees. There is another product called neem, N as in Nancy, EEM as in Mary, oil that also works very well. And either one of these are sprays, and both of these products come in ready to use. You hook them to your hose, and you just spray your trees. And that way, if you've got great big trees, that way you can get to the very top of those too.
Okay, so you're spraying the leaves, and now do you spray the bark?
Yes, it will spray all the bark and the of course, not leaves because we're talking evergreens, but the fronds and all. They're called fronds on an evergreen.
Okay.
And so all of that will be protected.
Okay, so neem oil.
Neem oil
and
or
what was
horticulture spray.
Or horticulture?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So.
And Shores has that.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Shores have both of those products. Very good. The ones that you want to use for the problem that we've got going on right now.
Okay, so water and get it in there, and how about well? Listen, there's timers you can get for your spigots too, isn't there?
That's right, and and they have a new product out. You remember we were talking about that a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you what, I really like that product. Greg was right. That is just a wonderful thing for me. It is the siphon that actually puts the product on as you're watering, and oh, is it wonderful. I'll tell you what, I can fertilize, water, I can be fertilizing and watering at the same time and be hoeing the other part of the garden. I'm doing 3 things at once. I just really like that.
Forevermore.
When you can kill 2 or 3 birds with one stone, this is a great thing.
I like it, and Shores has that for you. It's very easy to use, very easy to hook up.
Oh, it is. And actually the way I hooked that up, and that's what made me think about the timer, was because I have my spigot, or my pump there, and what I did was I put my timer, then I put the siphon feeder, and then from the siphon feeder I put my hose. And so I'm able to do everything at once. So I can put my timer on, I'm feeding and watering all at one time.
I like that idea. Well, leave it to Shores, Greg and Keith to have all the products. They've got a big line of products for just everything, don't they?
They do. And if what's really nice is they can work with you at any stage, not only from gardening, but on any part of the, as I call it, the farming, any area of that farming. You can go in there and get the parts you need for this or that.
Well, and your hoses, your garden carts, your garden tools, gloves if you need them, even hats if you need a hat or two. They've got that.
Exactly. Protect yourself, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, there's so you're watering, you're getting the yard treated or whatever you need to, and you've got it timed, and you're off hoeing the garden and enjoying that. A lot of folks are the gardens are getting stressed out a little bit, aren't they?
They are getting stressed out, and the sad thing is we've had so much heat and all. But the thing is, just have some patience, keep it watered. If you need, I don't really recommend a lot of fertilizer when it's this hot because it just stresses everything out so much. But the thing is, because we have gone and watered so much, we need to be fertilizing some too. So make sure that if you're fertilizing, to do it in small quantities. If it says, depending on what kind of fertilizer you're using, if it's a water-soluble fertilizer and they say to use a tablespoon to a gallon of water, cut that in half. Use like a teaspoon and a half. And the reason is feed it, but don't feed it so hard because of the heat. And I know this next week there's talking heat again. So, go ahead and do it at a less rate.
Okay, good. All right, so just kind of ease into everything.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, now, also in the extended outlook, now it's ways out, but Tuesday through Saturday, they're calling for chances of rain and storms. Right now, it's slight chances, but let's wait till we get closer to that.
Yeah, I was going to say, that'd be nice to see.
Ooh.
On the light show on Thursday night from the over to the east of us, there was some rain and everything, and the light show was quite amazing and quite beautiful, but it was just neat to see that some of our neighbors did get rain.
Yeah. Well, in that last rain we had last weekend, a lot of people south did not get too much, so we'll just hope everybody gets a good widespread rain whenever it comes in. Christie Rasure is with us, and it is Shores Bumper to Bumper Gardening with a garden guru, Christie Rasure. And by golly, times go fast. Fertile Home yard and garden products are available at Shores Bumper to Bumper, downtown Goodland, and they have a wide range of products organized nicely. The guys will help you get what you need. They'll carry it out. And Christie Rasure, your garden guru. Christie, you've seen them do that, and I've seen them do it too. Isn't that a nice service they have?
It is, and I was going to say, not only they've done it for me many times. So I was going to say, and I really appreciate it, and I just appreciate all the advice. The other thing is I want to say is last weekend I had the opportunity to go to the pond tour in Wichita, but in order to go to that we had to go to 2 different garden centers in order to get our tickets, and that was just normal rule. You'd only go to one. Well, because of circumstance, we ended up having to go to 2 garden centers. Oh, shucky darn, that's just a tough thing to do for me. But but the good thing is I was able to see something, and because I do represent Fertilome, I'm always looking to see what new products or what kind of products they have in other stores. And I will say this, and I came home to brag to Greg, too. I said, I am so proud of you and for how much you stock, because these are 2 large garden centers in Wichita, Kansas, and only had probably half, if even that, of what Greg and Keith have down there in the store as far as the different types of products, the amount of fungicides, the amount of grub control, the amount of fertilizers. And not only do they just carry one, they carry, say, like fertilizers. They carry like 4 or 5 different types of fertilizer, so you can go organic or you can go with the chemical. You know, there's just so many different types. And I am so happy to say that Shores carries all the different types. And so we have choices, and it's great. Plus, the other part that I really like is the fact that the people down there, the guys down there, can help you with the products. And that is one of the things that I will say that, you know, I've seen that. I've been able to be in the background, and I've listened to the guys actually work with the customers, and it's been good. They've learned about their products.
Well, I agree, and they've even helped me with products for my yard downtown. I say, well, here's what I want to do. Well, how much you want to do the whole yard? Do you just want to do a little bit? I said, no, I just want to take care of things right along the fence because I just want to do it that way. Well, then why don't you use this smaller amount? It'll work the same as this big gallon bottle, and you won't have it all sitting around and everything. So that really makes it handy, and you just don't get that in the big cities.
That was very true for me. It wasn't necessarily an eye-opener because I've seen it before, but it just came home to me of the quality, the quantity, and the products that we actually have available to us, and that is what's great.
Yeah, and we're not just saying this to fill up time on the program today. It really happens at Shores bumper to bumper. It
really does, and that's what I really want to stress to people, because, you know, sometimes we take it for granted. And sometimes we think just because we live out in Goodland, Kansas, Colby, wherever we are from, that needless to say we don't have choices. Actually, we have more choices than they do in the city a lot of the times. And the thing is that I have always found out, too, is that the people here they actually know their products better. And because it's one of those things, we take it to heart, and we have to know how to be able to service our customers. And that is one thing I will say about Shores. They know their products.
They do. And Fertilome Yard and Garden Products, it's, fertilome.com in case you want more information?
It's fertilome.com. And what you can do is take your product, hang on one second. You can take your products or problem, whether it be an insect or be it a weed or a plant that you don't know what it is. You can actually take that and go onto the internet, and you can find out what it is, whether it is a weed, whether it is a flower, whether it is a bug that is a good bug or a bad bug, and then Fertilome will tell you if you need to kill it or need to save it and how to do it. And that's really cool.
Yeah, I never thought about not destroying it because there are some beneficial insects. You can believe that.
Oh, yeah. You know, there's a ladybug out that actually came over from Europe. And I'll tell you what, that thing is just, as far as ladybugs are great. They really are. They're great for spider mites. They're great for aphids and all that. But that thing can be really a pain for everybody because it just multiplies so fast. It doesn't have a pleasant smell if you step on these things, and they bite.
Oh.
And that is one of those things. I mean, I've had some problems with it at my house because I've had so many. And what I've done is I've actually gone on to the Fertilome site, found out, yes, it is a beneficial insect, because I was trying to figure out how to get rid of because I had so many of them. but yet they told how to control them because they multiply so fast. But like they said, you need to find the nest of them, and basically selective pruning, as we would say on a plant. You can do that with insects because they can get out of hand. But what that site does for you is just very good. And you know what's really nice is Fertilome's made it very non-computer friendly. So if you're not very familiar with the computer, you can actually use it.
Well, they know a lot of people are, maybe grew up without the use of all the computers. So Fertilome says, okay, we'll make it as easy as we can for you so you can use our product and understand and feel good about it when you do use it.
That's right. Exactly. Mm-hmm. And that's what they do. They do try to do that too.
Wow.
And so it's been great.
Backyard ponds, should we be adding more water? Do some ponds have little actual built-in pond waterers or levelers?
They do that, or they have actually floats on their pumps so that you don't ruin their pump. The pump doesn't, so it'll shut your pump off if the water goes down too far, because it's been so hot and everything. And the wind, even though the pond is down low, that wind is drying it out, drying that water up a lot. And so you want to make sure you're always topping it off. Make sure if your fish, they actually have fish food for the summer, and Shores carries all that fish food. Make sure that you're feeding your fish during the summer while they are eating and getting fat on us and everything, because they're building up their reserve for the winter. And so make sure they're happy and sassy and all. And I will say, when we were on the pond tour, it was really fun to see these beautiful ponds down there. We went to 8 out of the 14 pond homes, or one of them was Botanical Garden, and we're able to see different sites. And these people know how to take care of their ponds. And that you talk about happy fish, and they were nice sized fish.
So the fish looked happy and fat.
Yes, they do. They are very happy and fat.
Wonderful. Well, did you see barley bales in some of these ponds?
Yes, we did. That's very well used down there. And it's just one of those things. Nobody wants algae in their pond.
No, I wouldn't know.
So, yes. And then one of the guys actually talked about, he uses liquid barley. And it's what they do is soak the barley and then strain it off, and it's actually liquid. And he actually talked about the benefits of that. And it was really interesting, and how it will clean it up so quickly and so forth. So it was neat to listen to him talk about it. And that was what was really educational for all of us that went on this, is because with the homeowner there, they could actually tell us how they built their ponds or what they find useful, what plants they like, and so forth. And so it's very educational and just a really good thing to go to.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you got to go there. I know the listeners missed the program. I heard about it quite a bit this week, and I'm sure you did too. But
I did, yeah.
You've got to kind of re-educate yourself. Well, we have about 6 minutes left. Christie, some other things we want to focus on our Gardening with the Garden Guru show?
Well, I was going to say, I've talked about, feeding your plants, and especially your like perennials and annuals and all that. Like I said, we are watering so heavy. If you have container gardens, if you have hanging baskets and all those, they definitely need to be watered and fertilized, on a continual basis, because as we are watering those container gardens, a lot of times we will let that water run out of them. And as we are doing that, the fertilizer's running out too. And so we want to make sure that that they are fertilized at, like a continual time. So make sure that you give them a little bit of fertilizer all the time to keep them going, because the fall is when those plants can be so beautiful. The color, as it gets cool at night and everything, that's when the color sets in, and that's when they're beautiful. And so what we want to do is maintain them now so that they can just become glorious and just show their beautiful, bright colors come fall time.
Now, is there any calendar activity we need to be looking at? You like to do things by special dates on the calendars. We've already had July 4th, Big Freedom Fest and all that. Anything new coming up?
Usually I would say fertilize because of it being a holiday and everything. This year I'm not even saying that because, yes, our lawns and everything are probably needing it, but I'm not going to say it. And I know everybody else is saying the same thing. It's just been too hot, and we're afraid of burning that lawn. And so it would be better to wait till the fall and then make sure we fertilize then. Hopefully around Labor Day it's at least a little bit cooler.
Now, that would be the next big event,
Right.
I think, of course.
Exactly.
Got fair time and everything else coming up in the next 3 or 4 weeks, and a lot of things moving along. What about...
Curtis,
Yeah, go
one
ahead.
of the other things, too, is
Yeah.
when we mow, we need to make sure that mower is up a little higher, because if you're mowing it too low, what we're doing is stressing that lawn also. And so when it's really hot, we want to make sure that we're mowing that lawn a little taller, and that way we're shading that grass. We don't have to water quite as much, and we don't have to worry quite as much about fungus in there either. So make sure that you've got that mower raised up a little bit.
I never thought about that.
Yes. So, and if you like to keep it well manicured, keep it up. If you do keep it up, that way you only have to mow it again that once a week and all. And then once it starts cooling down, then you can take it down. But don't mow it quite as often to try to keep that grass shaded.
That's good. Yeah, grass can kind of shade itself.
Right, exactly. And we're trying to just protect it right now.
Mm-hmm. Trying to do a lot of things.
Yeah, we really are. We're trying to protect our lawn, our trees, our flowers, and ourselves, too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Shores can help out with the watering. If you need a special hose or a hose repair, they can take care of that, too.
They can, and I was going to say, they just fixed the sprinkler for me, and I really appreciate that. And they've got so many different things. In fact, one of the other things that I had was a pump for a gal. I was trying to fix it, and I knew that it needed an O-ring, and it needed a large O-ring, and it's something to seal off the top, and they had the O-ring that I needed for that particular pump, and so it worked great.
Well, I think time after time, people are surprised at all the different items and products that Shores have.
That's right. I was going to say, and just remember, if you think it's not available, go ask. I bet it is.
Yeah. Well, and plus we've got the Simplicity yard mowers and rototillers and the big types of commercial mowers, too, plus weed whackers, and you name it, it's there at Shores.
And all the neat hand tools. It's never too late to go and get a new hand tool. Always have the right tool for the particular project you're doing. Make sure that it's a good sharp tool. If you have not sharpened your hose or your shovels in a while, take them down to Shores and have them sharpen them for you. Always make sure your saws are good and sharp because it's almost too dangerous not to have it that way.
Well, you're going to work a lot harder, too.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, why take 7 whacks when you could do it once and
be done.
Be finished with it?
That's
yeah.
right, exactly.
Yeah. Well, in Shores, we'll get that taken care of. It's good to keep your mower sharpened and anything else with a blade in it.
That's right. And, and if you haven't had the oil changed in a while, you might go take it down there and have it serviced, because I know they were, I want to say that the back room was getting empty, but it was starting to calm down. So, because I know for a while there it wasn't.
Busy group.
Yeah.
Well, Christie, we're out of time again for a great program here, Gardening with the Garden Guru, Christie Rasure, presented by Shores Bumper to Bumper, downtown Goodland, and those great quality Fertilome yard and garden programs and the different products that Shores have right there for you. Christie, reminder for our listeners?
Well, I've got 2 things. It's always keep those hands dirty and water.
There she is. Thanks, Christie. Enjoy your weekend.
Okay, bye-bye.
There she is, Christie Rasure on KLOE Goodland. I'm Curtis Duncan.